Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching. This is your look ahead, updated on Tuesday, the 2nd of December. And it certainly feels much cooler out there now, doesn't it? So what we're going to do today, take a look at the details through the coming week and have a look at what goes on through the middle parts of December. And also I've got the MJO lined up for you too, just to see what that is hinting towards the end of the month. And of course yesterday we were talking, weren't we, about the CFS that suddenly went into a very cold mode and saw winter. But I did stress to you that that was just the CFS. So anything could change, anything could happen. And this morning's forecast looking a little bit different, and I just want to give you a roundup of what they are showing. In fact, the CFS has fallen back into near normal mode, but when it does kind of throw in one of those strange forecasts, it's always worthwhile just taking note and just keep an eye on things to see how they develop. Now, first of all, Christmas is coming, and loads of you already ordered my Weatherwise DVD and my pocket weather forecaster book, and thanks to all of you as well who've given me feedback so far saying how much you enjoy them. It sounds like you couldn't wait for them, so you've opened them already before Christmas. They make great presents for yourself or for people you know who are interested in the weather, so you can go to the website now and order these. We do still have several left in stock. Publishers are telling me it's a couple of weeks to get some more out to us, so if you want one, I'd suggest that you get them ordered sooner rather than later, and then we can guarantee that they're to you in time for Christmas. Enough of the sales plug. Okay, forecast temperature anomalies for the next 7 days for Europe looking like this. A pretty chilly look to much of northern and eastern Europe. You can still see, look, the depth of the cold here across eastern parts of Europe, and that extends out into central areas as well, down into Iberia and across most of the UK. The reason I'm laughing here is because Freddie the Weather Wolf at the moment is actually knocking my hand as I'm trying to draw these graphics for you. And just to prove it to you, look, there he is. Yeah, he does like to make his presence known. So everybody, I introduce you to Freddie the Weather Wolf. You see, you're not going to get this on the BBC, are you? Anyway, so yeah, cool weather across much of Northern Europe. Look how mild it is, though, further south here, Italy, and across into Greece and into Turkey too. Goes to show how there is balance in the weather. You know, some areas cool, some areas mild. But the mean temperature for the whole of Europe for the next week is 2 degrees Celsius below normal. And just looking globally, this is how things look. Look, we've got some really cool conditions here, extending across much of the northern hemisphere, through Asia, through Russia, through Europe, and out into the US as well. And in fact, some pretty cold conditions here too. Look across southern parts of Brazil, running down into parts of northern Argentina, also across central parts of southern Africa. But very warm here, look, across southern parts of Argentina and across Australia as well. Now let's just take a look at what happens over the next few days. Today we got this front across the southeast bringing cloud and some outbreaks of rain, but you see the ridge of high pressure here building across the country. That brings the frost overnight into Wednesday, but still with the front across the south on Wednesday, still more cloud there and some spots of rain, but generally the high in control with dry conditions. Thursday should be dry again with an early morning frost, but still fronts down towards the south, bringing cloud and some spots of very light rain across the far south. Some showers coming into western Scotland and into the west of Ireland as well, but generally drier elsewhere. And then on Friday, more of a northwesterly flow through Friday, bringing a mix of sunshine and showers, heavy showers across the north and the west, those turning increasingly to sleet and snow. And then Saturday we need to be watching quite carefully. This front moving its way southeast. Sleet and snow again over the high ground of Scotland. Drier down towards the south. Much colder conditions following in towards the north and west. In all areas turning colder through Sunday. The possibility of some snow showers getting quite far south on Sunday into possibly the north of Wales or the hills of northern Wales, and certainly across the high ground of Scotland and across the Pennines too. Cooler conditions, but these are the predicted temperatures for Birmingham for the next 2 weeks from the GFS ensemble. You see them kind of falling and rising, typically between about 4 and 7 degrees. And yes, that's cooler than we've been used to, but It certainly isn't the depths of winter cold, although having said that, we are closely watching next week, particularly Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. This is how the 7 to 10 day mean of the 500 millibar flow looks. We've got the ECMWF on the left here. We've got the GFS on the right. And what we're looking at here is quite a strong jet look coming in across the Atlantic down into Europe on the ECMWF. And on the GFS, though, squeezed further north look through the British Isles. So GFS wants to keep this trough towards the north, as does the ECMWF, but the GFS tried to get that jet further north, which would bring more unsettled conditions through the British Isles. The ECMWF wants to push it down into Europe, which would allow winter to hit the UK. Now, the ECMWF has been the model of choice, really, over the last few weeks. It's been the one that's been picking out cooler weather better than the GFS. In fact, that's what it's doing next week, although even next week the GFS has come into line now. This is the forecast for the 11th of December. So this is the forecast for Thursday the 11th. Look, this is the ECMWF operational. Low pressure here, allowing the door to open to some really cold air coming in from the pole. Now, the ensemble less bullish on that. What it tries to do is to open the door to the cold air from the pole across Scotland and the far north of England and Northern Ireland, but across the south keeps us in milder but still relatively cool conditions. Canadian has been bullish on this one as well. It was the first to spot the possibility of this colder air outbreak, and the forecast for the 11th shows the cold air really trying to penetrate southwards, although being held at bay a little bit by this feature on the jet, which will run its way eastwards, bulge milder air back into the southern part of the UK before allowing this cold air then to get back in during the middle to the latter stages of next week. So there is agreement between the models of this idea of cooler air coming in. And the GFS ensemble trying to do it, puts the low up here, look, here it is. This is the cooler air trying to get in, but it keeps southern parts of Ireland, the far south of the UK and the south of Wales in those less cool conditions. It sees the hit being for Scotland and Northern England. So I think what we need to take from this is that certainly we're building up confidence as Scotland and Northern England and possibly Eastern England takes a hit. And we're talking in terms of snow showers here and perhaps longer periods of snow across Scotland. But further south, probably temperatures nearer normal, although we do need to watch for that probability of cooler air getting south. I mean, I think we're talking about a 70% chance of colder air hitting Scotland, probably around a 40% risk of it reaching southern England. It's that sort of probability at the moment. Now the MGO at the moment looking like this takes us through, look, into phase 5 through the next few days, then bringing us into 6 probably from around the end of this week onwards, before taking us into phase 7 around about the 10th of the month. So phases 6 and 7, quite weak, you notice, look, close to this centre circle. Phases 6 and 7 look like this typically. So that's phase 6, and you notice that phase 6 tries to pick up, look, on a build of a ridge through the Atlantic, tries to put a trough in here across the eastern parts of Europe. That brings in more of a northerly flow across Scotland and the eastern parts, more of a west to west northwesterly flow across the Atlantic. That pretty much is where we've just seen those forecasts going, isn't it? And then phase 7 does that, which is interesting. Builds the ridge back in, look, low towards the south, ridge towards the north. That brings in a northeasterly flow. Now, that presents quite an interesting pattern, because this is exactly where this morning's CFS wants to go to. It wants to build in the ridge towards the end of the month. It wants to see that taking place. Now, of course, you believe it at your absolute peril that that is actually what's going to happen, but that's where the CFS wants to take it. It wants to try and bring in that northeasterly flow, although I have to say, yeah, I just don't see that at the moment. So we're not getting such a clear steer from about the 10th, 11th onwards, but it's, you know, it's something that we need to be having one mindful eye to. We certainly seem to be in a cooler pattern right now. Okay, I'll stop wittering on now. Thanks again for watching. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at WXWeb, or you can follow us on Twitter at Weather School. And, of course, you can subscribe to us on YouTube for all the very latest updates of the videos, or you can just keep coming back to the website and you'll see all the very latest on there. But for now, whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to get your Christmas DVD and book orders in, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.